Hi, I'm Brian.
Hey everybody, I'm up on top of the RV if you can't tell. This is above our shower, and we've had for quite a while, we've had a little leak in the shower when it rains hard, so I'm gonna try and get that taken care of before the monsoons come back. They're right around the corner. They could be any day really. So fingers crossed. You know, I've seen a lot of videos about replacing this piece, this skylight or dome over the shower. I'm hoping not to have to replace mine. I'm hoping it's just the seal around it. As you might be able to tell, this is a little black. I actually tried last year to put some Flex Seal on this, and it just didn't really take. It didn't stop it. It's not a huge leak, and it does go into the shower, which I guess it could be worse. But that's still not a good thing because you know, everything, as that water runs in there, even though it ends up in the shower, it's going through the ceiling, and that's not good, obviously. So I'm hoping just to peel off kind of this old seal and clean it up, and hopefully this thing's not beat up or broken or anything, and I can just apply a new seal. In case you're not familiar with it, hopefully all that's going to take is this product, this lap sealant. So that's basically what you see. I mean, it's under this here that's now black, the Flex Seal that I had put over it. I tried to just go over top of that seal. This stuff does tend to, over time, you know, it can get pretty dry and it can crack. But it's kind of what you see right here at the bottom of the ladder. It stays a little bit kind of flexible, or that's the idea at least. But over time, over years, it does dry up pretty good and get kind of hard and brittle, and it'll crack. So not too uncommon. So again, I'm hoping I can just clean this off and put a new seal on it, and that'll take care of it. So that's what I'm gonna try. Got to be careful. So this roof is actually rubber. I believe it's called EPDM. I forget what that stands for, but it's basically a rubber coated roof. And you got to be careful when you're peeling this stuff away. I don't want to use anything too sharp, or if I use something sharp, I want to be real careful not to kind of poke through the roof, because it will go right through that material. So let's see if we can clean this up a little bit. Hopefully you can see that there. Again, it's kind of tough to tell from my angle. Let's see. Well, I can't see anything. So this is kind of what I'm dealing with and what I'm going for, really. Once you peel everything off, you can kind of get to the base of this structure here. So it looks like the fasteners are in these little insets. So I think that's all I have to get to. It's hard to tell here whether this is all that lap sealant material, or whether somebody tried to use caulking here in the past. I don't think that's kind of a recommended sealing mechanism on a rubber roof. So if somebody did try to caulk this in the past, that might explain why it's leaking. Again, I'm just hopeful that if I kind of strip that all the way down as far as I can, that just cleaning it up and putting it back on and then resealing with the appropriate material, hopefully will take care of the problem. So it's just gonna take a little time to peel all this off. Okay, so here we are with most of this peeled away. It's not perfect yet or clean or pretty or anything, but I think I've got most of it peeled away. It's really hard to see. I apologize if I'm missing a lot of this. I'm on a ladder. But what I'm gonna try and do now, I think I can clean it up better if I can take this thing off first. So what I'm gonna try and do is take these screws out. Some of them, and this might be, you know, either explain the cause of the leak or be a result of the leak. Looks like there's been quite a bit of water in a couple of these spots, and these screws, I don't even know if they're functional anymore. Some of them, they look like they might have just been kind of eaten away, but some of them look decent. So I'm gonna try and undo what I can and see if I could take this whole thing off. I think I'd be able to do a pretty decent job of cleaning this up nice and flat and get a little bit of soapy water and just clean it up to prepare to put it back. But as I try and take these screws off, we're going to find out kind of what bad shape they're in, and might have to figure out some way to jimmy this thing off here if these screws aren't really workable. So let's give it a try. Sorry, I had a bee flying around me. I'm going to try and get this up on the tripod. Okay, again, I apologize. I really can't see in my screen there. I'm not sure what I'm getting, so let's hope we get something. I'm going to try some of the better looking screws first, because again, some of them don't look like they are going to work real well. Don't know what size we're dealing with here, so hopefully we've got a size that'll work too. And of course they've got some goo all over them, so let's see where we're at. Okay, there's one. These are also put in some funky angles, so this is going to be interesting how this kind of goes back together once I'm able to get everything kind of cleaned up here, which is a chore in itself. Putting it back together is going to be a whole nother story. All right, so I was able to get all the screws out. It's hard to show all this stuff. So they're all out. I might need to replace some, if not all of them. They can be pretty corroded in spots. They weren't actually as bad as I thought. I was able to unscrew them all, so that's good. So I'm gonna try and set up the camera and peel this thing back. I'm sure the wind is ruining all the audio, but let's see what we can get a shot of. I don't know what this is gonna look like when we peel it back, and that might determine our next step. So let's see where we stand. All right, so unfortunately, fast forward 2 days here. Because I chose to wait so long to do this, it hasn't rained in months here. And, you know, I could have done this all that time and I chose not to. And of course, now that it's about to rain, I thought, boy, I better take care of that. And as soon as I did, we got some rain right in the middle of my fix. So I couldn't clean appropriately and reseal because the seal actually needs to dry. So I didn't want to do it in the middle of the rain, but I couldn't leave everything exposed. So I tried to use a little bit of a piece of tarp. That, of course, didn't want to hold down very well, so I actually just put the cover right back over it. Of course, there's no seal or anything like that, so luckily it didn't rain very hard, but it rained enough that I couldn't just leave everything open. So we had a couple days of drizzle here, so hopefully that's gone and I can get back to this and kind of start fresh. So I'm going to kind of peel this stuff off and try and do the cleaning underneath. I've scraped everything, but I haven't really done any cleaning, so that's the next step, to get it all cleaned up and nice and fresh to put this thing back on. All right, here we are, cleaned up best I can get it. It's pretty old, so the key is it still gets messy around the edges there, but that's really kind of the outer edge. I can't get my own shadow out of the way here, but the key is where those screw holes are. That and just outside of that is where you want it to be pretty clean. So that outside part is just where we're going to put more of the die core, the lap sealant. So that's all right. You want it to be as clean as you can up to those screw holes. And then there's my shadow. So there it is. I used a little bit of mineral spirits and just some soapy water, a little scrubbing, not super hard, and just peeled a bit of the old putty tape back. And I think I'm going to go down and just clean the actual piece itself, get any leftover stuff on that, and then we'll go to it. All right, so hello. This might be tough to do and show while I'm up on the roof. So what I've got here is the dome, kind of upside down. What needs to be done before I put it up there is these screw holes that go, the screws that go all around here. I think there's 14 of them. You want to run this putty tape all the way around. This one's 1 inch wide. I think they make it in 3/4 and 1 inch. I read something that said if you put it in the fridge, it helps make it not so tacky when you try and put it on, just to stick to your own fingers. So it's been in the fridge, and they even said put a little water on your fingers. So I might probably like caulking. I suppose makes it a little less sticky to your fingers. So I'm going to try and put a strip of that all the way around, specifically over these screw holes so that the screws go into them, but also try to get out to the edge of this, because so that's going to be the seal between this and the roof, and then the lap sealant just kind of lays over top. and it's self-leveling, so you put it on pretty heavy and then it just kind of falls into place by gravity. So that's the goal here, so let's give it a try. All right, let's give that a try. I'm gonna run it up on top, throw it on. Actually, I think I'll put the screws in just a little bit here before I take it up so that the screws will be ready. So I've got all the screws protruding a little bit. Had this been a new cover, I might not have done that because apparently the holes don't always line up, you know, from cover to cover. But since I'm putting back on the same exact one, these holes should fall right in the same spot, and even the angle of all the screws, you know, if they're off a little bit, should go right in where they were. There's no reason for them not to. So getting them started should help me when I turn it over. They should kind of just line up and fall into place. All right, here we are. Real tough to see up here, so I hope I've got it in the frame. I'm gonna try and put this back in exactly the same position it was. Gotta try and find the right direction. Okay, so things, at least so far, appear to be lining up. The screws are kind of going into their original holes, which is good. It's just a matter of putting some pressure down on this thing so I can get it all screwed down tight. I didn't realize this at the time. The ones I took out did not have this. I replaced all the screws. They actually have a slotted head as well, so I think I'm going to use that actually to drive them in. All right. Can't believe I didn't think of that sooner, so hopefully this should make my job a lot easier. Just want to be careful not to over tighten. Just want to pull them down snug just till they start to squish that tape. Okay, so I got a pretty tight squeeze on all of these. There may be a couple of them where the hole's probably a little stripped. I don't think there's a whole lot I can do about that. Without changing this cover out, those holes are going to fall in the same spot, and I don't think I can move it a whole lot. So there are 14 screws, and maybe 2 of them feel like they're not pulling real tight. They're just kind of spinning in place. So, but hopefully with all the others, I mean, that's not too much of a problem. And again, it looks like I'm squeezed pretty tight against the tape everywhere, so that should make a pretty decent seal. And then the lap seal over top of it, I'm gonna go heavy with the lap sealant, and it kind of does what it's doing right around the ladder here. I'm not sure if you can see it, but basically you put it on pretty heavy, and then it just, with gravity, it just falls into place. It's called self-leveling. So I'll hit all these screw holes first, and then I'll just kind of try and pile it up over the edge. And between the putty tape and the lap sealant, hopefully we should get a watertight seal, and hopefully that fixes what problem I had, which the only thing I can think of was both the lap sealant, the old lap sealant, and the putty tape had both cracked, and visibly you could see that they had. So I don't think that's all that uncommon. The trailer's pushing 20 years old. It's now in Arizona for the last 2 years or so. I don't know where it was before that, but I don't think that's too uncommon. So hopefully this is enough to take care of it. The dome doesn't look broken or malfunctioning in any way, so I don't see why just resealing that up shouldn't be enough. So let's hope that's it. Lap sealant next. All right, time to seal it up with the lap sealant. Got a few of these if I need them. Caulk gun. We'll start by filling in the screw hole spots first, and then we'll just lay a layer around the edge. Be pretty liberal with it, and it just settles into place. That's the self-leveling. It looks like that tube went around maybe 1.5 times. I'll just keep hitting it.